Well, thank you for joining us. We just concluded our caucus on our return from the district. We're proud to announce that more than 1,000 forums, Congress on the Corner, were conducted throughout the district as we continue to make sure that we fight for Medicare, that we continue to educate the public with the assault that's taking place on women all across this great nation of ours. Continue to push for the President's jobs bill, which has still not been brought to the floor by the Republican-controlled House, but also wanted to make sure that we took time to congratulate the presumptive Republican nominee, Mitt Romney, and also congratulate the Republicans for coming together around RomneyCare. Now, RomneyCare is, in this world here that we operate in Washington, D.C., has become quite a phenomenon. I want to commend the Republicans for finally coming together around something, because we've been trying to get them to come together around a jobs bill, because we recognize that job creation equals deficit reduction. But instead, this week, we see that they're deeming a lot of things. Now, they would, if they could, deem that Romney be president of the United States, but there's an election, of course, that has to take place in order for that to happen. But this week they're deeming the Ryan budget passed, not only in the House, but in the Senate as well. And this deeming of things, I think, is part of, the embracing of the concept of RomneyCare. RomneyCare, you might ask, well, what's that? RomneyCare is where the middle class pays for the tax breaks that are needed by the very rich amongst us. This has been a unifying element amongst the Republicans here in Congress, and we're witnessing it here this week. This embrace of RomneyCare will allow Bain Capital to make sure it gets yet more tax breaks. It does, on the other hand, put a little onus on, well, Medicare and Medicaid. But as we've heard, under RomneyCare, people have just got to tighten their belts and understand that those who have wealth and those who have accumulated know better than you. For you poor students that are out there, and witnessing, as several of our members experienced over the break, that your credit card rates are going to double in 74 days. Not to worry. In RomneyCare, if we just take care of those people on Wall Street, we'll be all set. And for you that have been worrying about gas prices, my God, don't you understand that under RomneyCare, we care for those oil companies. We care for those speculators to make sure that they're going to have the wherewithal to keep this economy going, because God only knows you can't make enough money here in these difficult times. And after all, shouldn't the middle class continue to bear these costs? RomneyCare has brought the Republicans together. Thank God, though, that there is still sanity in Congress and Democrats who will continue to stand up and fight for fairness and make sure that we defend Medicare and not turn it into a voucher plan, that get the President's jobs bill passed, a mere consideration that the Republicans should bring to the floor, and also allow the opportunity for us to make sure that students in the next 74 days don't see their rates double. Students are now paying more than credit card debt. This is wrong. It's wrong for their parents. It's wrong for their students to bring up RomneyCare this week. And there's no other way to explain this charade of messaging that goes on here in Washington than to treat it the way it should be, and then get to the heart of the matter and make sure that we're helping out those we're sworn to serve, the American people, and especially the hardworking people of the middle class. With that, our Vice Chair, Javier Becerra.
Mr. Chairman, let's see if I can try to follow that and simply say 469. That is the number of days now that the Republicans ruled here in the House of Representatives, and 469 also happens to be the number of days that we have been in Congress since Republicans took control without a jobs agenda. And once again, it's Americans who pay the price. We came back after the Easter recess, after working in our districts, talking to our constituents, who essentially were telling us throughout America that they want to see tax fairness as we try to get this economy moving again. And yesterday, members of Congress had a chance to prove that they were listening to their constituents. And by a majority of 51 votes in the Senate, senators voted for the Buffett rule, which simply says that no millionaire in America should pay lower tax rates than his secretary or anyone in the middle class. And that got a majority vote in the Senate. But once again, as we have seen time and time again under this Republican rule, a majority doesn't win in the U.S. Senate. And so 51 votes did not send a bill to the president's desk. It died because the Republican filibuster made it essential to have 60 votes. And so once again, the Republicans have killed another piece of legislation that the American public, by some 70%, says they'd like to see move forward. At the same time, this week, in the Republican-controlled House, we will see legislation put before us right at the time that Americans are submitting their taxes that essentially gives the wealthy a backdoor tax break once again, this time cloaked behind the skirt of small businesses in America. $46 billion deficit spending for the wealthiest in America. Not paid for, $46 billion in 1 year, not over 10 years, which is usually the way we score the price of these this legislation. But in 1 year, $46 billion. If you were to extend it over the 10 years that we usually count for scoring of legislation and its costs, it would be $500 billion in tax breaks, mostly, once again, going to the rich and famous. Who are these so-called small businesses that Republicans would be helping in this bill that will be on the floor this week? Paris Hilton from Beverly Hills with 5 to 10 employees would get a tremendous tax break. My Los Angeles Dodgers, which recently sold for $2 billion, as we all know, has a pretty significant payroll. Well, because they're under 500 employees, they would continue to get these tax breaks that are meant, as we're told, for small businesses. Larry Flint Productions, they do quite a bit of business in the adult entertainment industry. They would get this tax break. Kim Kardashian, another small business woman, would get this tax break. Bain Capital. And Bain Capital, of course, has become famous because of one of its owners and interested parties, Mitt Romney, would get this tax break. Who would not get this tax break for small businesses? Well, if you're a sole proprietor, that's a pretty small business. You would not get any of this tax break. If you are a mom and pop, you own a grocery store, they're the corner, you would not get this tax break. But Kim Kardashian, Mitt Romney, Paris Hilton would get this tax break. That's the way we begin this April month, 469 days into Republican-controlled House of Representatives in rejecting the common sense Buffett rule and moving forward with a backdoor tax break for the 1%. Perhaps it's not strange that this week we saw a poll that showed that by close to 70%, Americans believe that the tax code and the tax system is skewed against them and in favor of the rich. We need to get back to work by putting America back to work, and we need a jobs agenda now. The president has put one forward. If Republicans in the Congress are not willing to put their own forward, then at least let the president's jobs plan have a vote up or down in the House and in the Senate. With that, Mr. Chairman, yield back.
Thank you. Take a few questions. We do have a Ways and Means Committee meeting that's going on as we speak. Yes, sir.
The president pays here about 20% of his income in taxes, but he says wealthy people like him should pay at least 30% of an income tax rate. Do you believe the president should contribute to the Treasury another 10% of his income in taxes?
I believe that the president is correct and believe that we should follow the Buffett rule. And if that requires him following the law. All people currently follow the law, so should the president, but it's up to Congress to change the law and then have everybody participate in a way that's fair and equitable. Under RomneyCare, that doesn't happen. In the Romney world that we're deeming here over the next couple of days, the rich get rich and the middle class pays for it. And it's paid for on the backs of student loans, on the backs of Medicare, and the general unfairness. And that's what the President was addressing, is the general unfairness. Nobody begrudges anyone the ability to make money or to be successful. That's great, and that's part of what being a part of this great nation of ours provides and allows for. But it's the fairness when the country is going through the difficult times that it is, when the fairness of your fellow Americans is at risk, when you're going to eliminate Meals on Wheels so that we can make sure that we provide for a second elevator that takes your car to the second floor of your house, and get a break for it. That is where fairness comes in. Yep.
You mentioned deeming. I assume you're talking about the Ryan budget.
Correct.
Passing. You guys did this during the healthcare reform bill. What's the difference?
We did not do that during the healthcare reform. It was talked about it, but we did not do it.
Right.
We did not do it, and because. In fact, we did not only did we not do it, but we spent many hours not only in our own caucus, but on the floor. That became the most debated bill in the history of the United States Congress. And so, but this bill is going to have no debate. It's going to be deemed. So the Ryan budget is going to be deemed. As I said, if they could, they would deem Mitt Romney president. But that's not going to happen. There's going to be an election. There should be votes out here. We are the vocal minority. We're making it known that this is not the right process. This is not fairness. This is not what the American people expect. And why are they deeming it? Well, they're deeming it because they know that it can't stand up to the scrutiny. I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of when someone asks me a question of addressing them and not the camera. Sorry about that.
Can I just add something? I hope you're asking the Republicans the question, what are they afraid of? If they're so proud of their Republican budget, why aren't they willing to have it debated on the floor? Why must they have it passed through a stealth action, which gives no one an opportunity to debate it on the floor of the House, which means no one in America gets it to debate it, because when you're the 435 representatives elected by the 307 million Americans in this country can't debate a bill, something's wrong. And I hope the question being asked of our Republican colleagues is, if they're so proud of their budget, and if Mitt Romney has adopted their budget, why aren't they willing to debate it so people can understand what it means?
Thank you.